business on LinkedIn. Whilst we're waiting for a few people to join, if you wouldn't mind, obviously everyone who's here, just say hi in the chat, let us know where you're from, and throughout the whole process, if you guys have got any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and then we'll just answer them once we get around to them. All right, so in the webcast, we're going to show you guys how to optimize your LinkedIn to get you your fitness clients that you've been looking for. So basically just a bit of an introduction to ourselves. I am Curtis Cheer, the Head of Business Development, and I've been at Maverick for the past 2 years. And over to my partner.
Hey guys, my name is Jay Unwin and I'm actually a relatively new member of the team here at Maverick. I've been here for 2 months. In fact, tomorrow is our 2-month anniversary, Curtis, so I hope you've got me something nice.
Of course I do.
So before that, I've been working in the fitness industry for nearly 10 years. So over the past decade, I've had quite a varied fitness career. I started out as a personal trainer. I owned my own gym for a little while and ran that in Torquay. I've done online coaching. I've worked in supplements, and more recently, I've been working in kind of the corporate wellbeing sphere and doing public speaking in companies, helping them get the fitness of their clients, fitness of their workforce even improved so that their productivity improves and so on. And one of the things that I guess don't talk about a lot when I'm in that area is how many mistakes I've made in terms of sales and business development. And over the last 2 months working with Maverick, the amount I've learned has been quite astonishing to me, really. And I really wish that I had this knowledge when I started out 10 years ago, because my businesses would have been way more successful as a result of knowing these strategies and knowing these tools.
So yeah, just to give you guys a bit more of an introduction to who Maverick are, for all of you who don't know. So we are predominantly a training and consulting company, and we specialize in helping people grow their company by optimizing their LinkedIn and optimizing their social selling skills. So we have been around since 2014. We've currently helped more than 1,000 businesses through our webcast, which we do every Tuesday, and we do the odd one Wednesdays. We have a very big mission on helping 1 million businesses to grow their margin, revenue, and profit. So just to give you a bit more of the background on LinkedIn, hello, CJ Johnson. So just to give you a bit more of the background into LinkedIn. So a lot of people are struggling with sales on LinkedIn. Ever since the rise of COVID as well, we've noticed that there's been a big jump to everyone moving digital, because obviously everyone's had that big loss in the transactional sales. Everyone's trying to look for that quick transactional sale. So everyone's doing the connect and pitch, talking about their products and their features all the time, and they're not actually getting anyone to relate to their service. So therefore, as you can see, only 62% of users, or 62% of users are struggling to leverage LinkedIn to generate sales. So the majority of people who are using LinkedIn, as I mentioned previously, are basically just sending spammy messages. So I'm sure all of you guys have had it. As soon as you connect with someone, straight away you get a 5-page War and Peace, and then straight away you just ignore it. So everyone's doing that. We've all got a natural habit to think the best way to sell our products is to keep talking about it. So everyone's always talking about what they do, talking about what they can offer to hoping that someone bites, but unfortunately it doesn't work. So what you actually really need to do is have more conversations with people. What you want to do on LinkedIn is you want to sell the value of a conversation, because at the end of the day, people want to talk to you before they buy from you, and people always buy from people. So our Maverick methodology. So a great thing that we teach in our accelerator program is the Maverick methodology. If you look, so it starts with position. So position is all about how you want to position yourself in the market. So at the end of the day, people buy outcomes and results, not products. So this is all about the difference that you can make from the difference that you can make in your consumer's life. Then we talk about the roadmap. So this roadmap is all about what you're going to do. So how are you going to get a prospect who doesn't know you, see your content and everything that you're producing, so almost raising that brand awareness, and then almost get them in the conversation that will lead to a sale. So it's all about that roadmap. In regards to attention, that's all about getting your prospects' attention. So as I mentioned from the roadmap, how are you going to, once you've defined your ideal client, how are you going to get their attention? Then we go on to intent. So we do a great thing called intent-based prospecting. And in all of our accelerator programs, we have a smart link campaign where we always tell all of our members the best way to sell to a client is that you want them to show their hand first. So in our smart link campaigns, it's a great way to gauge the intent of your prospect. And lastly is the results. So the results is mainly about what are you going to do to achieve these results? So what sort of time are you going to allocate to using LinkedIn? How are you going to do it? And it's all about getting those results.
So the current industry problems, also, hi Rob, I can see Rob's watching as well now. So the current industry problems, now some of you guys will recognise these, and you might recognise them in yourselves, or you might recognise them in other people that you've seen working in the industry. These are three which have really jumped out at me over the past 10 years. The first one, and this is a mistake that I made, and I still struggle with it from time to time because it feels quite unnatural, and that is having no niche, going too broad with your ideal clients. When you're working in health and fitness, you know that what you offer can help pretty much anyone, right? Your service is going to improve the lives of anyone that you could speak to, and so you don't want to niche down. You don't want to go too small because you feel like you're turning people away. But that's actually a huge mistake, because when you try and appeal to everyone, you're not actually going to end up appealing to anyone at all. People want to hear someone speaking their language, talking to their particular problems. And if you're spreading yourself too thinly, that is just not going to happen. You're not going to appeal to anyone. So that's a huge problem with the fitness industry. And to be honest, lots of other industries as well. Another issue within the fitness industry is that a lot of coaches, a lot of trainers, they don't believe that clients will pay premium prices for what they give. And this is made worse by big names such as Joe Wicks. Now, I'm not going to bash Joe Wicks at all. He's a bit of a Marmite. Some people love him, some people hate him. I'm not going to bash him at all because what he's achieved is phenomenal. But he offers a service. He offers a 90-day program for a certain price. And a lot of people feel that they have to compete on that price. They don't believe that people are going to pay more for them. So you might be watching this as a coach and thinking, well, no one knows who I am, so why would they pay me more than they would pay Joe Wicks? And so there's this lack of belief in being able to charge higher prices. And so a lot of coaches are charging low numbers, having to find lots and lots and lots of clients in order to make ends meet, which ends up being a really unsustainable business for them. And the third on this list, trying to compete in noisy environments. Facebook and Instagram are the usual places that the fitness industry tend to hang out. I've been on LinkedIn since I started in the fitness industry 10 years ago, but I only started using it last year, and even then I wasn't really using it that well. Most fitness professionals will use Facebook and Instagram because that's what everyone else in the industry is doing. But because everyone else in the industry is doing that, it's a very, very noisy environment. Hugely noisy. You only have to look at Instagram and search for the hashtag fitness, for example, and you'll see tens of millions of results. And everyone is competing, whether it's coaching, whether it's supplements, whether it's the kind of quick fix skinny teas and stuff like that. And you get drowned unless you're really unique. There's so many influencers with huge followings, millions and millions of followings, and they can charge a very small amount and make bank with that, really, because they've got so many people who buy something for 20 quid. But if you've only got a few hundred or a few thousand connections on Facebook or Instagram, you're going to struggle with that kind of pricing. So if you move over to somewhere like LinkedIn, which the fitness industry have been very slow to adopt, yes, you have got coaches on there. Some of you guys are on there, and that's how you knew about this webcast, of course. But are you using it to its full effect? Because most people in the fitness industry are not. And this is the foundation of how to go about attracting people. And this is something that you'll see people doing on those other platforms, Instagram and Facebook and so on, which is talking about the gap between where your clients are now, or where your prospects are now, and where they want to be. But still, there's so many coaches who are posting about themselves. So many coaches, so many personal trainers are posting pictures of themselves in the gym. They're posting pictures of themselves with their tops off. They're posting pictures of themselves in a bikini. Probably not you, Rob. I haven't seen any bikini photos of you for a while. But this is the thing. No one cares. I'm really sorry, but no one cares about what you look like. Your prospective clients want to know what you can do for them. And so you need to talk about the problems that they currently have, the pains that they currently have. And where they are now and where they want to be, that's the language you want to speak. That gap between those 2 points, that is the painful truth for these prospective clients. And if you can produce content and if you can have conversations with these prospective clients about those particular challenges that they're facing, they're going to really resonate with you and they're going to believe that you care. Because there's that old phrase, isn't there? No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? So you need to speak their language. And in fact, this is a really good opportunity for me to just drop in a PDF that we've got, which if you want it for free, you can ping an email across to fitness@maverick.co.uk. That should be coming up on the screen, that email address. Do take a note of it because Maverick is spelt a bit funny. So email across to that if you want this, what we call the one client profile. And it is a PDF that you can fill in and it will really give you some clarity on who you're speaking to and what their pain points actually are. So if you want that completely free, ping an email across and we'll get that over to you tomorrow.
But yeah, also following on from what Jay said, that pain point document is so important for you guys to complete. If you get it right, all of your content and all of your messages, will literally source around that pain point document. Because at the end of the day, your clients always will want to buy outcomes and results, not your products, not your dietary plans that you can do, not your workouts. If you hit their pain points right, that is where that's where all the conversations will start to begin to happen.
So with the 4 cogs, this is where we're going to get into a bit more of the mechanics of how to structure your strategy on LinkedIn. It's just an overview. Obviously, we could go into huge amounts of depth with all of these things, which is what we do with our clients. But we're just going to give you an overview, and hopefully this will give you a great starting point. I was just having a look as well. There's a few. I can see Sam, you're watching as well now. CJ, yeah, awesome. So built on word of mouth and recommendation only. CJ, if you think of LinkedIn as like word of mouth but supercharged. If you do it right, it is just like word of mouth, but you just have a far, far greater reach. So the 4 cogs: content, engage, connect, and conversation. We're going to go through these. Me and Curtis are going to go through each of these in turn and spend a few minutes giving you a bit of detail about what these entail. So to start off with content, now this is, we actually have another free webcast about content specifically next Tuesday evening. If you're interested in that, again, ping an email across to fitness@maverick.co.uk and we'll send you the link to get booked in for that. But as an overview, content is how you stay relevant in your connections world, on LinkedIn, on any platform. Are you posting frequently? Because some people are on LinkedIn, but they're not posting regularly. In fact, what's the percentage in terms of the people who are active on LinkedIn have posted in the last 30 days? It's something like it's something like 4% or something crazy.
It's very small. So imagine all of the millions that are on LinkedIn. There's only literally the small, I believe it's single digits that are literally posting. So as Jay said, there's tons of people that have got LinkedIn, but they're using it as almost like business cards and expecting that people will just land on their profiles.
And this is one of the mistakes that I made, is I just thought being there was enough. But if you are posting regularly and you put yourself in that 4% who are, only 4% have posted in the last 30 days. So imagine how tiny the percentage is for people who post every week or even every day. And if you put yourself in that tiny percentage, then your connections are going to see you far more frequently and you're going to be in the front of mind for when they are ready to buy your service. Because not everyone is ready, not everyone is looking for a fitness coach. Even if they feel unhappy with their fitness at the moment, not everyone is actively looking for a coach. But when they are, if you've been popping up in their feed regularly, you're going to be the person who they go to. So post frequently. And this is an interesting one as well, the hashtags. Hashtags are obviously search terms, really, okay? And people use them on LinkedIn like they do on Instagram, not so much on Facebook, because people follow certain hashtags or people search for certain hashtags. Now, on LinkedIn, it really only works when you use the first 3. LinkedIn only uses the first 3 hashtags in a post within the URL. So that's kind of for search terms and things like that. But what we see so many people doing in any industry is using the hashtags of their own industry. Okay, so you in the fitness industry may well be putting a hashtag at the end of your post saying hashtag fitness. But guess who that is going to be visible to? The people who are following that hashtag are likely to be other coaches and other people in the fitness industry. So what you'll find is that using the hashtags that you would think are obvious for what your post is about are not the best for reaching the clients you want to reach. So if we go back to your ideal client, let's say you want to work with people who are executives in the financial services industry, use the hashtags that they're likely to be following. So post things like leadership or finance or things like this, because it doesn't have to match what's in your post. But what you want it to do is to drive this post into the feeds of people who are following those particular hashtags. And this was a real light bulb moment for me because it makes so much sense. I'm sure that if you're hearing that makes sense to you, but it's something that you perhaps haven't been doing. Again, let us know in the comments if that is something that you relate to. And again, are you talking directly to your customer? And this is where niching down becomes really, really powerful. When you niche down, you have an idea of a specific person that you're going to talk to. Again, to use the example of an executive in the financial services industry, if that's someone that you're speaking to, you can think about what are their pain points, what are they struggling with, what language do they use? Don't use fitness jargon because they won't understand it anyway. They'll switch off to it. If you write your post about that person and that person's struggles, then they are going to see that and they are going to stay on that post and they're going to read more. So within the first line or the first couple of lines, which is, before anyone has to click see more, those first couple of lines are powerful and you can speak directly to your client or your prospective client using a question which really drives home a certain problem that they're having. So post frequently, use the right hashtags and talk directly to the customer that you have decided you want to work with. So there's a couple of examples here. This is a review from someone who's kind of followed some of our steps, and she got a viral post, and it went. This is the thing with viral posts: is it only takes a certain amount of engagement before a platform thinks, well, this is obviously really popular. I'm going to push it out to everyone in this person's connection and all their connections and so on and so forth. Now, you're not always going to get viral posts, especially if it's about what you do. But you're more likely to get them if the posts that you're putting up are more engaging and they're more specific. I mean, if you can see here at the bottom, I don't know what your views are like at the moment. The views on this post at the bottom, 53,000 views. Have a little think about what your views are like. If you haven't kind of tracked it, have a look back at your posts on LinkedIn and see how many people they're reaching. Before I joined Maverick, my posts were reaching about somewhere between 200 and 300 per post. Okay, so it's not many, but I thought that was all right because it's in the hundreds and I thought happy days. Maybe a good post would get to 400 or 500. The week that I started following the strategies and the techniques that we use at Maverick, my posts started reaching 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people. The most I've had in the past 2 months has been 10,000. And that is just by tweaking my content and tweaking my strategy on LinkedIn. And that happened, like I said, in the first week. So have a look back at what your current reach is, and then make some changes, make some improvements based on what we've just been sharing, and see how much that improves.
Yeah, so as Jay said, I think if you guys get things right, people, when it comes to LinkedIn, people always tend to think smaller numbers. But as you can see, if you do get things right, the views, the engagement can be incredible. And then from that previous post as well, some of you may think, oh, what's the point of getting so many views? Firstly, it's great for your brand awareness. But secondly, which we didn't emphasize there, was the comments. Comments tend to be a lot of where people that are very interested in your product, interested in your services, that's where it all comes there. And then that's obviously when you pick up from the comments, you get those people into conversations, and then those conversations can lead into sales down the line. So the second cog is engage. Are you liking and interacting with your prospects? So throughout everything that we teach, we always we always talk about our 7 steps method. So our 7 steps is basically getting you in front of your audience. So the best way you can do that is by liking and interacting with your prospects. A lot of people will go straight in, they'll do the straight connect, they'll post now and again, and straight away they'll go in with the code message. So therefore, if you're on the other side of this process, you're going to think, who the hell is this Jay guy's like trying to sell me fitness stuff? But whereas if you're doing the liking and the interacting, and then you're also doing the content that's hitting their pain points, your content is going to build the trust, belief, and awareness. And then when it goes to the conversation, it's going to be so much more easier because it's almost going to be a warm introduction. And then obviously, as part of the engagement as well, are you optimizing your posts for engagement? So as Jay mentioned, it's all about doing it frequently, because LinkedIn's got a funny thing. If you're not there frequently, you almost get lost in the system. So you have to be there Monday to Friday to really get the maximum visibility. And when we talk about optimizing your posts for engagement, we always talk about 2 important things. So that's engagement power and stopping power. So to get the views on your post, it has to be 3 seconds. So you almost have to think, how can I get my prospect or whoever's going to see my post to dwell on my post for 3 seconds? So as Jay mentioned, either have a question or something that makes your clients think, where they have to press see more, and then have everything spaced out just so they can read it easier. But as long as that's hitting their pain points and it's interesting to them, that dwell time will improve, and then obviously that will jump you into the algorithm, and then LinkedIn will think, oh, wow, this post is doing great, let's share it to more people. So always remember, stopping power and engagement power is so key to getting your content right. So another part of engagement, so there's many great tools for you to build relationships with your clients. So that is, are you leveraging congratulations, birthdays, and endorsements? The main reasons for doing this is that when you do those sorts of things, so whether you congrat them or say happy birthday or even give them an endorsement, what they'll get is a notification of who you are, your picture, and obviously your headline, which will specify that you're in the fitness industry. So straight away, you're almost building that familiarity with your profile. So that's what you've got to keep doing. And it's important to keep doing these tools, because basically Microsoft done a study where it takes between 7 and 15 touch points for a client to buy from you. What you want to do is you want to keep these tools and use them as touch points. So whether it's liking and interacting with your prospect, that's one touch point. Hopefully they see your content, that's another touch point. Obviously commenting on their post, that's a touch point. And then obviously saying happy birthday or the endorsements. It will keep getting you closer to the route of closing them as a client.
One of the interesting things about that I've noticed through implementing these tips, when it comes to liking and interacting with prospects, I had a call with someone yesterday who was very open to having a chat with me because they'd seen me engaging with their posts. I'd liked a couple of his posts before I'd sent him a request to connect. And so when he got that connection, he had already seen my name, like Curtis was saying. And so this stuff is working in real time with the stuff that we're doing. And when it comes to stopping power, another thing that I've noticed is when you use images in the right way, they can have a really powerful stopping effect. So bright colors, bright backgrounds and stuff like that, very clear images. GIFs and memes, now and again, those work as well. You might not want to build your entire strategy around them, but they will. Just think about someone scrolling through. Most people use LinkedIn on their phones, even though it is a professional networking platform. More people use it on desktop than might use Facebook, but it's still predominantly on the phone. So imagine your prospect scrolling through their phone. You want to use an image which takes up most of the screen. So a square image rather than a kind of wide image, like a landscape image. So square image, bright colors, maybe a bit of bold text on it. Use your face in it as well. So pictures of you, because people will get to know you and people engage more with pictures of other human beings.
Yeah, and following from that as well, people buy from people. So it's so important to have your personality, let that shine through. We get clients all the time who are representing either their large company or their own company, and they feel like, because I'm representing my company, everything's got to be company. I've got to speak like my company. I've got to show that I have this company authority behind me. But at the end of the day, people buy from people, and because it's gone digitally, people almost forget about simple human interactions and like forget about getting your personality across. So keep your personality there, because at the end of the day, people will be able to read whether it's you or whether you're acting to be your company. So they will always find your stuff more engaging.
One of the things that I've kind of advised a few people on recently is to treat your interactions on digital platforms like you would human interactions in person, right? So if you go to a business networking event, you don't walk up to someone, stick your hand out with a business card in it, and ask them to buy your stuff. You don't do that in person. So why would you do that on LinkedIn? You don't just drop into their inbox and immediately tell them what you do and why you can help them. What you do is you build rapport first. You get to know them as a person. You chat about just everyday stuff. And so if you treat your engagements on and your content as well on LinkedIn and other digital platforms the same way, where you allow people to get to know you, then that can do a lot for building that trust.
So yeah, if you get the engagement right, as you can see from the graph, your profile views, your profile engagement, your connection requests inbound will just go through the roof. And then it's also important to keep an eye on your dashboard, because your dashboard will tell you everything. So your dashboard will tell you if you're hitting the right client. So let's say if you're based in London and obviously you want to have prospects that are, let's say, 10 miles out. If you're hitting places like Devon and there's people from Bristol or even people from Manchester viewing your profile, you know that you're targeting the wrong prospects. And then obviously that's when you rearrange who you're looking to connect with. Obviously it'll be London-based people. Whatever your ideal client is, you will just go from your dashboard and then obviously realign your strategy, basically.
I noticed that when a combination of my content changing and my my manner of engaging changed within the first 7 days of working with Maverick, my profile views had gone up by over 500%, which is quite a big jump, right? So again, just by changing a few simple things. So when it comes to connecting, so we've talked about content, we've talked about engaging. When it comes to connecting, you want to be very specific with who you connect with. It's no good filling your LinkedIn connections list with people who are not going to be interested in what you do, or you're not going to be interested in working with them. So if you are looking for, again, to use the same example, the financial services executives, or to talk about what Rob mentioned, he wants to work with office workers, busy professionals, then it's no good filling your connections with people who don't fit that bill, you know? So have a very specific list of people that you'd like to connect with. 100 to 150 prospects is a great place to start. So once you've had a look through, and you can use Sales Navigator to do this. If you haven't got Sales Navigator, that's a really good thing to look into on LinkedIn. But you can search very specifically for who you want to work with and make a list. You can save those lists within Sales Navigator as well. But if you're not using that, just make a list by hand or in a spreadsheet, and then connect with about 10 to 15 of them a day. Not loads, because LinkedIn will notice if you're connecting with too many people, and it will notice if you haven't engaged with them first. So like Curtis was saying about the 7 steps and engaging with people before you send that connection request, LinkedIn will see that and it will be more forgiving, let's say. So if you aim to connect with 10 to 15 a day, off your list of 100 to 150, and as you develop your list and as your connections go up, you can add more people to your prospect list, but you do it gradually. And if you do it gradually, not only will that not flag up to LinkedIn that you're spamming people, but what it will also do is it will allow you the time to engage with those people and have conversations with those people without it becoming too overwhelming, because 10 to 15 a day isn't super over the top. So remember to engage with them first and then go and connect with them. Your connections are really, really key, because it's your posts, your content, it's only really going to be visible, at least in the first instance, to people who are already connected with you. Those are the first people who are going to start seeing your stuff. They're the first people who will be shown your content by LinkedIn. Yes, if they engage, then their connections might see it, but you want to really grow your connections so that more people are seeing what it is that you do.
It's also very important to add, because I know a lot of the people coming from the fitness industry will be using LinkedIn as a very new tool. So a lot of you will have very, very small accounts. So previously, obviously going to Jay's example, if you're looking to target financial advisors and once you start producing content, you will get a lot of inbound connection inquiries. Don't be too picky with those, because it's great to grow your connection list, because we always talk about profiting obviously profiting from your extended network. So what that is if you're doing your content right and doing all the engagement right, if that potential prospect likes and engages with your content, guess who's going to see it? It's going to be people that's connected to that person. So essentially, you may not be directly connected to that prospect, but actually a prospect that you've just accepted might be connected to people who will want to use your services. So keep growing your connections. It's so important to do that, because at the end of the day, you're always going to profit from your extended network. And like Jay said as well, when it comes to your content, the only limitations to your content and your visibility at the moment is the size of your account. So third important cog is the conversations. So as we mentioned before, going digitally, people have almost forgot simple human interactions. And the main reason for using LinkedIn is to get people into conversations, and that's the only way you do business. So you won't ever really get loads of clients just naturally just buying all these products, buying all these services. You will want to get them into conversations, because at the end of the day, that's when you can obviously direct them down your path, sell them a higher value product as well, because you're almost giving them and sharing to them the solution. So when it comes to creating conversations, always say thank you and ask questions and get people into conversations. So if they've posted, ask questions on their content. So when we say about liking and engaging with their content, go to their posts and don't just say, thanks for posting. I'm sure you've seen many times that a lot of people tend to do this. Ask questions, but ask questions specifically about that post, where you almost want to create a two-way conversation. So therefore, you're slowly building up that relationship. If people send you connection requests, it's always good to say thank you. Even simple things when people have messaged you out of the blue, it's good to keep that relationship going, because you don't know what it can turn into. And if people have congratulated you on your promotions or any job things, don't leave them out. Always say thank you, because at the end of the day, even if you're not doing business with them, you want to leave a good brand name in their minds. So actually they'll go, wow, this person, I didn't ever buy from him, but I've seen all his fitness stuff, and he might know someone that can obviously be directed to yourself. So please never cold pitch. You've probably had it done to yourselves, and it's probably never worked either, and it won't work on LinkedIn. So you may get maybe, if you was to connect and pitch out of 1,000 people, you may get maybe 2 sales, but you've got to think about what were the consequences on getting those 2 sales. Essentially, you've just burned through 998 people, might have annoyed them, and they obviously might have just disconnected with you there and then. You're making things very hard for yourself. So we always talk about engaging with them, liking and commenting, obviously engaging with their content, getting into conversations, because by doing that, they're naturally going to see your content. And then that's how all of that belief and that trust is all going to be built on the side. So we always talk about the more personalized your outreach, the more likely you're going to get a reply. So that may seem so obvious, but the amount of people that personalize things is so small. So we've talking to several clients, and we've asked how their large sales teams have begun getting on. And I spoke to a large client previously who said, we have a script and we do the research on the client. So we do about half an hour, 40 minutes research on the client, but we'll just change their name and their company depending on the script. And then that's how we do a personalized outreach. That's not personalized, because you've got to think, the person who's done that research 30 or 40 minutes and you're just doing a connect and pitch, you're banking on the chance that they bite for them to make that research feasible. So you've almost burnt through that. So it's always good to be personalized. So if you're looking to engage with someone, actually go to their profile, check out what they do, check out what their role is, check out what they've been talking about, because you will always find, and with practice as well, when you get things right, you will always find your conversation conversion percentage will increase through the roof if you do all these things properly.
The interesting thing about questions, and this is true whenever you're trying to build rapport anywhere, whether it's face-to-face, whether it's on a dating app, whether it is like whatever, right? People like to talk about themselves. There's a really great book that's super old now. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You might have heard of it. If you've read it, brilliant. Go and read it again. If you haven't read it, go and read it. And one of the things that Dale Carnegie talks about, and this was a book that was written in I think it was like the 1930s or something. And one of the things he talks about is asking questions. And there was a little story in there about someone who, all he did at this party was ask questions about what someone else wanted to talk about. And after they'd left, the person was asked, oh, what did you think of that person? And they said, oh, he was a great conversationalist. But he hadn't actually said anything about himself, but he'd left the impression of being an amazing person to talk to because he'd asked questions and he cared and he was interested. If you're interested in other people, genuinely interested, because you can tell when someone's fake interested, but if you're genuinely interested and you're asking about stuff, people like to talk. And so again, talk about their industry, talk about the stuff that they're interested in. If you've looked at the stuff that they're posting about, you can reference some of those posts. Oh, hey, I saw you post about this. Could you tell me a bit more about da 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 da? And they'll be happy to because they're interested in their industry. Most people are. Okay, so asking questions and showing a genuine interest and being personal in that way is massively, massively powerful. And with the cold pitching, how many of you? I'm not going to ask you if you have cold pitched, because you probably have. I certainly have in the past, and it didn't go well. I'm not going to ask you to out yourself there, but have you ever spoken to a prospective client who has had a bad experience with cold pitching? Let us know in the comments if you have. I was chatting to a recent client of mine who gets multiple messages per week from people in the fitness industry saying, hey, you look like my ideal client, and then some stuff about how they can help. It's completely unsolicited, and it just switches off. Like the person is not interested. This client of mine was just not offended as such, but other people could be, because you're essentially going in. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of people in the fitness industry are focusing on weight loss. So you're dropping in someone's inbox, commenting on their appearance or their weight, even in a kind of in an aside kind of way or an underhanded kind of way. Are they really going to buy from you? Probably not.
So yeah, as you can see here, connect and pitch does not work at all. So you want to have the conversations, obviously, as from the book that Jay mentioned. Another great thing is that people really do love talking about themselves. So when we talk about creating conversations, don't go in straight away mentioning what you do, because if you're on the other side of that, you know, as soon as a person introduces what they do, they're basically after you to buy into their product and service. So always start with creating conversations around what they do, actually seem interested. Obviously, when they do reply, ask more questions, get more out of it. Because at the end of the day, if you're asking questions about them, they're slowly going to bring the walls down, and then they're going to ask questions about what you do, and then that's where you can share your expertise. And if you hit their pain points right, because obviously you've got this plan behind you, they don't know about this whole plan. So if you're doing everything right, you can lead them down your route. But the main thing is to get them into these right conversations where it becomes a two-way conversation. Because at the end of the day, your conversations are is the most important thing that will lead to sales, not your connect and pitch, not your burn and churn. So as you can see, these are a few reviews that we've got from previous clients. So if you do the conversation bit right, LinkedIn can be the only source of revenue, and you don't have to worry about anything else. If you do LinkedIn right, LinkedIn can literally triple your business, take it to wherever you need it to go. But you have to put the time in, you have to do things right, you have to do the 4 cogs, you have to have conversations with people. Because at the end of the day, people buy from people, and if you're just going to treat them as a number that you're hoping to get onto your products and your services, they know that. And with the rise of digital as well, I'm sure you guys have seen, there's so much fraudulent stuff going around. So I've even received emails from Netflix saying that I haven't paid my subscriptions. I've received them from Lloyd's, and they look really real. So people these days, although digital's gone up like crazy, there's also a lot of fraud. So people are getting very skeptical. So now you have to have the foundations of everything, because all of this leads and improves your credibility. So getting the conversations right, just so you do look like a real person and you have the foundations of everything. It's important to do that. And with your content and with you engaging with your prospects, you're always building that trust and that belief between the two of you.
So the checklist that I'm going to go through with you now is essentially just a bit of a recap of the stuff that we've shared with you. Like I said earlier, this is just an overview. This is the basics. This is to get you started. We don't want to overwhelm you with tons and tons of stuff when you're right at the start of this journey and you just want to make a few tweaks, because what you can do is you can make a few changes, see how that impacts your success on LinkedIn, see how it improves your sales. It might take a couple of weeks because obviously you are going to build relationships with people. You're not going to go out and get sales necessarily in the next 12 hours by changing things, because you are going to be developing these relationships. But if you are consistent with this stuff, you will see a change. You will see an improvement. So if you remember, you've got to define your ideal client to start with. And again, like I said, if you didn't catch it earlier, the email address is fitness@maverick.co.uk. Check that on the screen because of the funny spelling of Maverick. If you drop us an email, that will go to either myself or Curtis, and we will send you the one client profile, which is a PDF that you can work through completely free. You can work through that, get an idea of who your ideal client is, who do you really want to work with, and what are their pain points. So ping us an email and we'll send that across to you tomorrow. Create your prospect list. So when you know your ideal client, write a list of people that fit that bill. It could be people you already know. It could be people in your network that existing that maybe you're not chatting to regularly, or it could be completely new people. You could think, right, who's the CEO of these companies nearby if you're working face-to-face in personal training? Or it could be people further afield, people in London, even if you're in a more remote area, if you're working online. So create a prospect list of 100 to 150 people that you want to connect with. Develop your positioning. So your positioning, again, it's about placing yourself as the expert. It's about making sure people know what it is that you're good at, what it is that you do. You can optimize your profile because it's essentially your landing page. Everything you do on LinkedIn will lead back to your profile. If you comment on someone's post, they will click and come and see who this person is. If you like someone's post, if you visit their profile, that's one thing unique to LinkedIn. People will see that you visited their profile and they go, who's this person looking at my profile? And they'll come back to you. So make sure that your positioning is good and that your profile is good. Post your content daily, Monday to Friday. Weekends on LinkedIn don't get as much engagement usually, but you can still post at the weekend, but mainly Monday to Friday is the focus. And use the right hashtags. Use 3 hashtags of your industry. And if you're not sure what those hashtags should be, then have a look at people in that industry and the kind of hashtags they're using. So look at your ideal clients and look at the hashtags they're using. We also have a hashtags document. Is it 100 hashtags?
So we've got the 100 hottest hashtags. So when we talk about hashtags, it's also important to use important hashtags. So going back to Jay's finance example again, if you're looking to target finance clients, don't use something like fitness for finance because you may think it's it's going for the right people, but if you put that hashtag and if you click on it, there'll probably be about 10.
I reckon nobody's following
no one. So there might be no one. So it's important to use popular hashtags because at the end of the day, although you can only use 3 and you want to use hashtags that hit your ideal clients, you want to use popular hashtags that are in use that will help boost the engagement of your content. Obviously, and in regards to referring to posting content daily, a lot of you may ask, because you're new to it, what the hell do I post daily? Me and Jay were having this great conversation with a previous client before, where you guys are in an industry that you've been in for years, and you've managed to turn something so complex into something so simple. There's going to be a lot of your audience that would love to listen to what you offer. So in regards to protein, you can talk about what are the benefits of eating protein in so many different posts, like the benefits of eating chicken, like the benefits of doing weight training, like the benefits of doing endurance training. There's a lot of people that will want to hear this stuff. So feel free to break that down into small little bits, almost like what we're doing with hashtags. Hashtags is such a simple thing in our industry, but there's a lot of people that love to hear about hashtags. So when you're sharing these snippets of your value and your knowledge, you're actually getting people to think, wow, this person really knows their stuff. and then that's when they buy into your value and your expertise.
You might get bored of the stuff you're saying because you know it and it seems like really obvious stuff to you, but it isn't obvious to the people that you want to work with. You forget that you're actually an expert. I've just seen CJ say that they don't have time to do 5 days a week, which I totally get. And a lot of people can see content as quite time consuming. It doesn't have to be that way. But what I will say is if you're looking to get more clients, if you're looking to make more sales, you're looking to grow and develop your business, how important are more clients to your business? Is that something that should be at the top of your list, or have you got enough at the moment? I totally get that. If you've got enough clients, you don't want any more clients, that's cool. But if you need more clients in your business, and we're saying this will help you get more clients in your business, you just got to think where, in terms of your priorities, that sits. It doesn't have to take you ages, doesn't have to take you hours every day. If you give over maybe a half hour each morning to writing a piece of content, that's not much time at all. But if you're not doing 5 days, then have a look at maybe 3 days to start off with, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to start with, and then you can kind of go from there. You don't have to suddenly change, you can build up. It's like, if you're working with a client, you don't necessarily want them to jump from doing absolutely nothing, completely sedentary, to running marathons and deadlifting 200 kilos. You build up to it. So if something isn't right for you right now, you can build up to it. Engage with your prospects. So once you've got your list of prospects, if you've got a list of prospects, then go and engage with them before you connect. And when you do connect, this is something we didn't actually touch on, only connect to second-degree prospects. Don't connect to third-degree prospects. And what that means is, so your connections, your existing connections on LinkedIn, they're first degree. Their connections, so other people who you've got a connection in common with, they're your second-degree connections. Third-degree connections have nobody in common with you. And so when you connect with second-degree connections, LinkedIn favors that. And also the person can see you've got mutual acquaintances. If you connect with a third-degree person, then LinkedIn are a bit like, oh, why are they connecting with that person? And also that person can see that there's no link there. So stick with second-degree prospects when you are connecting. Don't send more than 10 to 15 requests per day. You don't want to be overdoing it. Stick with 10 to 15 per day. Do not cold pitch people. We cannot stress that one enough, because you will become just that annoying person that either you get blocked, you get reported for spamming, and then you get your account restricted, which means that you can't send requests, you can't send messages, your content won't reach as many people, and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So don't bait the gods of LinkedIn by spamming people with cold pitches, connecting with too many people, and so on and so forth. When you're connecting with people, once you're connected with people, with these ideal clients, continue to interact with them. Continue to interact with them on their posts, continue to engage. Don't just message. Messaging is useful, and stay in contact with these people, but don't keep messaging them saying, hey, remember me? Hey, remember me? Just bumping this back up to the top of your inbox and all of that annoying stuff. But instead, just go and like one of their posts. Or if one of their posts comes up in your feed, comment on it, because that is still engaging. That's still keeping you front of mind. And start a conversation, ask questions, be a human being, and just enjoy the process. I've just seen a question there from CJ again. Scheduled content. Do you want to take this one?
Yeah, so scheduled content is absolutely fine. A great platform is Hootsuite. If you're only using one, I think it allows you to connect up to 3 social medias, but you can only use one at a time. So, for example, CJ, if you find Sundays are a very good time for you to, let's face it, let's just smash up my content then, literally do it on a Sunday, and you can literally schedule it through the day, so it will just post for you, and then you just worry about the engagement. So we always say people that engage with your content, it's always important to engage back with them as well. So if they've asked you any questions, if they just said, wow, that's great, like and comment back, because what you want to do is you want to get as many eyes as possible on that content. The more activity there is on your posts, the more visibility you'll get. The thing with
kind of scheduling posts as well, and it ties in with what Curtis was just saying about engaging back. If you have scheduled a post, but then you're not online for 24 hours after that post has gone out, and then so people are commenting and you're not engaging with them, that doesn't do so well. So it's a fine balance to tread where scheduling can save you time, but you want to make sure that you do check in and see who is commenting and stuff like that. LinkedIn doesn't have the option to schedule posts itself, does it?
No.
No. So you would need to use a third party like Hootsuite for that. So
yeah, lastly, so thank you for joining us on the webinar. If you're looking to really take things further, we've actually got great programs. So similar to all training, the hardest thing is the implementation. I mean, we've all done training before. Literally, when you do training, one-off trainings, only 20% of the information is retained. And at the end of the day, when it comes to the training, we always like to resort back to old tactics. So if you're connecting pitching, if you're cold calling, it's just so easy to resort back to old solutions. So we thought we need programs because actually coaching can improve productivity by 88%. So we need programs that can obviously guide people. So with our 90-day revenue sprints, we will give you the confidence and the support to get clients within 90 days. As you can see from our members in the past year, we've already helped them generate £12 million in sales through LinkedIn. So if you want to be a part of that, just email us at fitness@maverick.co.uk, and obviously we can share more information about the accelerator, and we'd be more than happy to jump on the call. But thank you very much for joining us. I'm Curtis again.
I'm Jay. Yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the comments and the interactions as well. If you've got any that weren't answered, then we'll come back through in the comments afterwards. But also ping us an email if you've got any questions that weren't answered during it. Dave, I just saw your comment about not working on a Sunday. I wasn't sure what that was relating to. In terms of content, if you don't want to do content on a Sunday, that's cool, right? LinkedIn doesn't particularly like content at weekends anyway. But I think that's what you were referring to anyway. But thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for all the comments. And like I said, drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you.